Alright, guys, this is William Jamming. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, I think we pretty much finished the 2D game development section, and we already made the llama game as well as like the 2D jumper that can get a fireball coming out. Yeah, we already achieved a lot, so I think it's a good time to continue our journey let's add a dimension, right? And of course, with the added dimension, there is an added difficulty, yeah. So we are going to go get the 3D game. So we add 1D to our game. So let's create our new project. Okay, so it's a really exciting project. So let's get started. So we got this newest long-term support version, and let's use the latest version. Okay. So as by the way, as I record this video, there is a lot of newer version of long-term support version coming out. You will update that once we finish the previous project, and then we update to the latest version. And I think Unity is constantly update. So yeah, let's cancel that for now. I think I got install. Let's get official release, and the latest long-term support version is 2022 3.14. I'm going to just use this one, and okay, 2023. Okay, so okay, let's open let's create a new project, and remember this time instead of 2D, I'm going to select 3D, and everything else you can just leave it here. And remember, the long-term support version will be the latest version, okay? And just choose 3D core, everything will be fine. Okay, and I'm going to name it my first 3D game, or our first 3D game. Let's just name my first 3D game. Okay, enable version control and term of service, William Jamming, yeah. Then we can create our projects. So I'm going to pause it here because you will spend a little bit of time to create a project, and once finished, we're going to continue. Okay, after wait a few seconds, it's already been created, and we got animator, we got asset store, we got game, we got scene, and remember, we are choosing the 3D core here, which means that it's a 3D game, not a 2D game. So you are given a 3D environment like this. Okay. So we got a sun here, right? We got a sun here like this. This, if you click it, you can see it's a direction light. And remember, since it's a 3D game, you got different coordinate system than just a simply flat 2D game. Okay, so if you haven't seen this, like the axis, X and Y and Z axis, you can just select this area and press W, and it's coming out. Okay, and of course you can select the hierarchy. For example, you want to select the camera. For example, the camera is too small. You say you can't click it because 3D game is adding the depth to the environment. So sometimes you become really hard for you to click it. You can just find it at the hierarchy, double click it. You will focus on this camera or any subject object that you want to select. And then you can say drag it up and down, and you can move it closer, right? You can move it to the right direction, to the left. You can move it higher and move it down. Yeah, and of course you can rotate the view by click and hold the secondary view, and of course you can use the this first person view. But let's just create a create something so you can actually working on. Right now it's just a camera, and if you double click the camera, you can see we got the main camera here, which means that the camera is filming whatever is inside the scene, and when you actually in the game, you're going to see like here. Okay, so we got this sort of a small reference of what the player will be seeing here. Okay, so you can make it bigger, but most of the time we don't need this big. We just need a quick reference will be fine. Okay, and any functionality that we already learned in 2D development will most likely to apply to a 3D game. But remember, we add a dimension to it. It's a 3D. So for example, let me just create a 3D object rather than 2D, and let's create a plane. Okay. So we are create a plane here. Okay, so we actually got our grounds, and since this plane is I know a little bit small, I'm going to change the scale here. So right here, the scale just 1. I'm going to increase that, say 10. Okay, so we got really big, and of course, if you don't want a drastic change, you can say 1, and you can click and drag. You can gradually change the x-axis and make it to the to this length that you like. I'm going to make it really big, so I'm going to make 10, and of course you can click and drag the y-axis. I don't think there's a drastic change of y-axis. Okay, so let's just leave it 1, and z-axis, of course you can just click and drag. Because it's a plane, it does not have a certain thickness to it, so even though you say you got the y-axis of 10, you can't change it. So let's just leave it. And z-axis right now is 2. You can click and drag to make it wider, or smaller. For example, you want to say make a runner game that you run on a really narrow surface, something like that. Of course you can do that, and then of course you can use code to do that. Right now let's just make it really big plane, something like that. And yeah, let's make it risky. Let me just make it 2, or maybe just 1, or maybe let me narrow it down a bit. Okay, so yeah, I got a really dangerous plane that you can walk around like a I don't know, like a dangerous bridge that you might fall down to the abyss. Yeah, and of course, do you remember that we got a main camera here? I double click the main camera, and here is the what you're going to see as main camera. Okay, so if you drag the main camera up a little bit, you can see that the camera is above this plane, and you can actually see our plane. And of course, if you continue to drag it up, you won't be able to see it, because the camera will reach too high and you won't be able to see it. Okay, if you drag it down, it will be below the plane, you won't be able to see it as well. And of course, you can actually rotate the camera. And of course, you can not only just move the camera, we can rotate the camera as well. That's the beauty of 3D game. Okay, so camera is actually just a game object, and you can rotate by selecting the rotate tool. And then we got a cube here. Okay, so we got a cube, and you can rotate it by click one thing and drag it. If you click and drag, you guys can see right here the main camera is tilting. Okay, so for example, if you click here, and you can tilt it to the right. Okay, if you click here, you rotate it, the main camera just tilt it to the left. Okay, and of course you can fine tuning all these changes by selecting rotation. If you don't want any of it, you can just make it 0. And here is the common misconception that many of us might have, is that the camera is not necessarily facing the right way. Okay, this is just an icon. Okay, and this icon can be changed if you got here toggle visibility of all gizmo in the screen view. You can toggle that, so you won't be able to see this gizmo, but just a fancy name for icon. Okay, so, and of course, if you think this camera is too big and too distracting that you can't see this cube, that you can't adjust it, you can just change the size of it. Okay, so we got the 3D icons, and we can change the size by just shrink it a little bit. Okay, so we got a really small camera here, but my recommendation is that you make it much bigger, like this. So you can not only rotate it, but also you can see this icon. And don't be fooled by the icon. This camera is not necessarily go this way, go right way, but rather you need to see. I think we got a thin whitish line. Yeah, like this. This is your actual angle. So, for example, if you rotate it, you can actually see that the main camera here, right here, we got this view rotated. Okay, so we can see we're above our plane. Okay, and we are looking around using our camera. Okay, and of course, if you want to quickly switch that back to this move or position kind of gizmo, you can just press W, and you can just drag it down a bit, right, and make it both. And as you guys can see, as you drag it down, you can see there is no thickness of the plane, because it's just a simple plane. There is no thickness here, so like a really thin piece of paper. Alright, so that's our plane and the camera, and of course you can add more object to it, but remember, it's a 3D object. Okay, so we can add, say, a cube to it, okay, and a sphere to it. Let's add a cube. Okay, so voila, we got a cube. And of course, if you select this and you want to move it, you can just press W. You can just lift the cube up. This is a really big cube. Okay, so we got a cube on our really thin plane. Okay, and of course you can just move this cube out a bit. Of course, you can use rotation to rotate the cube, and you can say you can use a scale tool to scale the tool as well. Wrap tool, scale tool. Let me just use scale tool. Scale tool is just that. Yeah, it's a self-explanatory. You just click and drag, and you can scale it up and down. Right now we got no physics, no gravity to it, so you can do whatever you like. You even can say just lift it in the middle of air, and say we got the main camera, and you can clearly see our our, I don't know, just like a flying weird object here. And of course you can rotate it to actually see, oh, we got a weird object here. Okay, it doesn't really matter, because once you click play this game, you just be the camera. You just be the main camera. The camera is like the eye of I don't know, the eye of you in the virtual world. So every time that you click it, and when you play this game, the camera just becomes you. Okay, and you just see the object that you created. And since there is no physics in the game, the object just fly in the middle air. Okay. Right, and of course you can create multiple game objects, but yeah, that will be a little bit redundant, because just to repeat whatever we have been doing, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to using code to actually interact with the 3D environment. By the way, if you want to move the viewpoints, you can using Mac, even though you say you haven't got the middle wheel of your mouse, you can holding Option and click and drag. You can just move the viewport, and you can click the secondary button and click and drag, and of course you can do that as well. Right now, what I'm going to do is to move to approximate direction like this. And then what I'm going to do is to create a 3D game object, and I'm going to make a capsule. Okay, so a little capsule here. It's a little bit cute, and what I'm going to do is to control this capsule. Okay, so right now let me just move this capsule in the 3D places, so you guys can have a clear understanding of what is going on. So if you click that in the red cylinder, red cone, I think is cone or cylinder. Let me quickly check that. It's called okay, it's not cylinder, it's like a like the pointy thing. Okay, sorry, English is not my first language. Okay, so as you can see, you are essentially dealing with the x-axis. Okay, so if you're not sure which axis you're on, you can always check here. Okay, so x-axis, and of course you can do something like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to move, click and drag and move a little bit, so you guys can see at the position we're essentially just changing the x-axis like this. Okay, so say the starting position will be 0. Okay, or maybe say minus 10, minus maybe even more 50, something like that. Okay, and starting with minus 15 all the way go up to say 50. Okay, so essentially everything is the same. The y-axis, the z-axis is exactly the same. The only thing that changes there is the position of the x-axis. Okay, so if you like to make it say some escape mobile phone game, and you want this capsule to move, you can just change the x-axis. Okay, so right now we got the transform here. So if you want to change it, you're going to get hold of transform and add a certain position based on whatever you tell the script to do, and you are going to translate, which means that you're going to add to its original position. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I think this position is minus 50. Okay, minus 50, let me just make it say minus 52 and minus 10. Okay, so yeah, approximately these places. And what I'm going to do, let me just double click it so you can automatically focus on it. What I'm going to do is to make a manual note of this position, and I'm going to automatically using code to set that capsule to that certain places. Alright, I already make a mental note of it, and what I'm going to do is to create a folder of a scripts maybe, because we're going to store multiple scripts in there, and I'm going to create a script called I don't know, original position, original pose. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is to move this capsule to this original position. Okay, so wherever this capsule are, you're going to, when I hit play, it's going to be the specific position. I'm going to rearrange that a little bit. So okay, so yeah, I think I might adjust the camera a bit. Okay, so this capsule can be at multiple places right now, but I choose it to be at the edges or the destination of the places where I want it to be, and I double click, get the rider open up. So after a few seconds of waiting, I already got it open up, and of course you're going to trust it and get it. I'm going to get the Copilot updated, because I really need this Copilot in order to actually write code much faster. So what I'm going to do is to get this start file to transform. So basically, if you want to get hold of a transform, you're going to get a certain position by using transform. Okay, so click capsule, and we got his position at the transform here, and we got position minus 52 and minus 10. So what I'm going to do is to just enter this specific position. So what I'm going to do is to translate and to that specific position. So minus 50, and then I think it's 2 and minus 10. 2 and minus 10. Okay, and then there will be our starting position. So you can save it, and you don't need to close it because it will just automatically compile. And what I'm going to do is to actually change the capture's position. Okay, I'm going to just click and drag it to just much closer to our camera. So what about here? Okay, and then watch the magic happens. And of course, don't forget, you need to attach this to a certain object that you want to transform position. So I'm going to click and drag that to our capsule. So click and drag. Okay, so we got this original post attached to it. So if you hit play, you should see. Okay, so the position of this yeah, where is it? Yeah, a little bit weird. Yeah, sorry. It's just got to the I'm going to double click to find the exact position. Maybe I just got the wrong pause, so -20, maybe -10. Sorry about that. So you can do the live testing by using -10. Okay. Right. I know I use translate, so you sort of add that based on your original position. So yeah, I know how to deal with that. So first, the original position, let me just set it all to 0. Okay, so it's it should out of the camera range, and then when I hit play, it should be at this this position. Okay, so basically the translate is adding to its original position. Okay, so I moved this a bit and got this really messed up original position, and yeah, we don't want to do that. So there is another way of a specified position, which is you can sort of hard code this position. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to pause this, and instead of using translate, I'm going to duplicate that, or maybe just sorry, wrong key or wrong hotkey. So I'm just copy that and comment it out. What I'm going to do is to hard code this. Instead of translate, you can just set the position to a certain position. So you can say -50 to -10. Okay, and so now you might think of something like this. It's yeah, theoretically it should work, but yeah, the context of Unity it will not work. That's because you did not conform to a certain format. So I think you guys maybe already watching my 2D development tutorial. So in 2D development, I sometimes use a vector 3D, vector 3 or vector 2. So basically, I use that interchangeably, especially in some functionality that they overlap with vector 2 and vector 3. But in the 3D game development, you need to use vector 3. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is to actually using the vector 3 rather than vector 2, because I'm in a 3D game. So the correct way of doing this will be to a new position. Okay, I'm going to new a vector 3, and yeah, you need to write the specific vector 3 here in order to generate that position, and to specify you need that the object, game object that this code attached to be at that specific vector 3. Okay, there will be x, y, and z. Okay, so if you go back here, there will be x, y, and z. Sometimes the x, y, and z is a little bit weird. It's a little bit different, but it's at the exact same order in the Unity engine, so it won't have to mess up with all this order thing. And yeah, if you have to know the Unity engine got the y-axis pointing up. Okay, sometimes you might intuitively think that the x and y-axis work like this, but in fact this is z-axis, not the y-axis. The reason for that is because in 2D game development, so for example in 2D game development, the z-axis will be pointing at you. Okay, so if you still remember my previous tutorial, the 2D game, if you want to say move the camera up or down a little bit, so you can sometimes solve the overlap problem. So if you got a layer that's lie just behind the canvas, you won't be able to see. Okay, so so this will be a correct way of doing things rather than just delete all that and pass the x, y, and z to that certain position. So you need to know that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to move this to a really weird position and test it out. Okay, so let me hit play and should automatically set that to the position. If you click it, and you can see the transform is x minus 15 and y 2, z minus 10. That will be exactly the same as here. Okay, so that's the start. And by the way, the voice start, I think it's self-explanatory because the Unity already give you the comment of what does this code do. It is start is called before the first frame update. Okay, so that's basically how it said. So basically, the first frame updates. Before that, you're going to set that position to here. So the first frame will be the you hit play, and the first frame that you saw. That before that, we're going to set this position. So every actor in your scene is ready for you to play. Okay, and of course the updates. Updates is crucial, especially if you want to change the position of the character, because update is called once per frame. Okay, and this I think I already explained the delta time, so it will be a frame irrelevance here. But I just want to show you that depending on the spec of the computer, this can change drastically, and depending on the specific condition that your computer is under. So for example, your computer is under a lot of progress right now, and you might get really laggy, and then they will be moving at different speed. So so what I'm going to do is to remember we already comment this out. So what I'm going to do is to cut it and to paste it here and uncomment that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of just change all that, because it will update every frame, you can't possibly just give a really big number here, but rather what I'm going to do is to just move it a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to this is if you're still running this object will run away. So what I'm going to do is to just move it a tiny little bit. So for example, you got this the objects are really far away, sorry about that. Let's just manually set that to minus 50, and I think the is minus 50 2 or minus 10, 2 or minus 10. Okay, so it's supposed to be here, and what I'm going to do is to let this capsule to move forward. Okay, so if you are in the game view, it's move towards us. Okay, so move towards us. And so if you look at here, the position, basically it's a minus 50, and you're adding all the way up to infinity. So you actually add some number to this x axis. So what I'm going to do is to just delete everything else, make it all 0, because we don't want it to move with z-axis or y-axis, only x-axis. And I'm going to add in a little bit. Okay, so I'm thinking about, I think this is just a pre-frame. So if you add a really big number and you got 1 second, say 60 frame, and you just move huge places, a huge distance away, you don't want to do that. So maybe 0.01, okay? And of course, if you do that, you have an error. That's because, let me hover over it, you can see the error. Yeah, I think I need to click this, okay? So cast to float. This is not float, this is just double. I'm going to add an F to float. Okay, so yeah, that will stop the complaint. So basically, this code will carry out these two maneuver. The first is set that to our, say, the starting point. The second is that to move it gradually towards the x-axis. Every frame you're going to add that to -50. So 1 frame later it will be -49.999, something like that. Okay, so let's just move it to here, just some weird position. Okay, and let's hit play. So it will snap here and then gradually move forward. Okay, it's moving forward. And the great thing about Unity is that you can split the screen in game view. Of course, the camera is here, so you can only just watch it here, unless you got some first person character that you can move. And of course, you can view our game here. Okay, as you can see, this capture is actually moving towards the left. And if you increase the speed, it will just move to infinity. Okay, that's the beauty of about 3D game, because you are moving say beyond this 2 dimension, and you can move whatever dimension that you like. So for example, you can say, I'm going to hard code it to say y-axis will just move it up. Let's just move it up. Okay, 0.0, maybe 0.01 f. Okay, so let's just increase the speed a little bit and y-axis, so it will just shoot all the way to the air. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, so it's just starting moving towards the sky like a rocket. And of course, yeah, if you are just pause this game, stop this game, it will just move to whatever position that you set. Okay, so yeah, so that's the beauty of voice start as well as voice update. I think is one of the two of the most crucial void function that you are going to encounter in game development, and we already encounter that and use it a lot. And in 2D game development, we already dive too deep into this game development. But I just want to reiterate that since we already start a new chapter of the 3D game development, we just want you guys to rethink this too, and rethink what we can actually do when we are given more dimension as well as more tools at our hand. Okay, so yeah, I think this is already pretty long, already 30 minutes. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give the video a thumb up. I update video every day, so thanks for you guys for support, and I will see you next video. Bye.